In this video, we're going to show you how to remove the green screen from the video files in DaVinci Resolve. For this process, we're going to have to edit the video before we actually put it into DaVinci Resolve to match it to the audio for lip syncing. Okay, the reason for this is when we try to edit the way we showed you with the alpha mask, there is a slight transparency on the bottom layer, which causes a problem that's unavoidable. So we really want to set this up before we begin editing it for lip syncing. So we're going to open up a new project, shrink this a little bit so we can get our files in. Okay, we're only going to put in the 2 green screen files and your audio. So make sure that that's accessible right away. You're going to left click, drop it into the media pool. You're going to select change. And now we have our files in the system. We're going to open this completely. Now we're going to take the audio, we're going to drop that onto its place for audio. Okay, make sure that that goes right to the edge there. All right, now what we want to do is we're going to put the Tanya off, drag that onto the first layer for video. Oops, that'll happen sometimes. Just make sure you go right to the edge and then let it go. Okay, then we're going to go to the Tanya on video, drag that in and put that right on top. All right, as you see here, we want to be able to see our waves a little bit better here. So we want to zoom in, and we want this so that we can know exactly where to edit our dead spots. Okay, as shown in the first video, we're going to only edit the top layer. So we want to kind of lock the middle one so we don't hit it by accident. And then we're going to use this scroll bar and we're going to find our dead spot. Okay, we're going to end up cutting it right about here first for the audio. If you look up top, right, I'm going to move it. You see her mouth moving, right, while there's silence. Okay, we don't want that. So we want her to start pretty much almost immediately. So we're going to come over to the area where we want to cut the audio. Go up here, select the razor, come back down to the audio layer, and then just cut right where the line is. All right, go back up, find your arrow, highlight that, come back down to that highlighted audio file or the portion that's highlighted, left click, make sure it's highlighted, right click, and then cut. Get that out. Now I'm going to come over here and drag this right to the beginning, and then you can see when we play,
hi there,
her mouth moves accordingly. Okay, now what we want to do is, as shown in the first video, we want to cut the spots that are where there's no sound. Okay, because again, if you look up and I move this, her mouth is still moving while there's silence. We're going to eliminate that. All right, so we're going to start here right after our first wave, and then we're going to select our razor blade, come down right where the top video layer is, right where the line is, cut, and then we're going to move the scroll bar over to the next wave, but make sure you don't cut where there's sound. Find where it's dead. Figure that out for yourself. Select the razor. In this case, it's already selected. And then, again, we're not going to cut the sound. Okay, we're going to stay up to the top layer, which is video. Cut right where the line is. Go back to your arrow, left click it, make sure it's highlighted. Drop down to the portion that we cut out. Right click, cut, and that's gone. And we're going to do that all the way throughout the audio file. Okay, we're going to find our next spot just so you can see.
I am your 3D clone rat.
Okay, well, that's where she stops for her next cutout. Make sure the blade's selected. We're going to come over to the first video layer, and then we're going to cut right where the line is, as we've shown before. And then we're going to scroll over to the next area that we want to cut in that dead space. Again, top layer, get your arrow, select that portion, right click, cut, and now we're ready to just keep on going all the way through. Again, I'm not going to drag you through this whole thing, so we're going to fast forward and then show you what to do next. Okay, at this point, this is the last portion of the audio, as you can see. We want to edit the top layer carefully. Okay, so you want to make sure her eyes are not closed, first of all, when you end the video. Okay, so you want to just cut right where the sound ends, and then keep an eye on her mouth. If it looks like she's about to open it again right at the end, as you can see here, you don't want that. So just cut it right where her mouth shuts. If it should shut right on time, and if not, then we can create that shut by just going right towards the end of the clip, editing, and then once we remove this top layer, the bottom portion where her mouth is closed will then take over. Okay, so right here we're gonna get rid of the top layer, and then we're gonna scroll over, see her open her eyes, and we're gonna stop her right about here. Okay, as mentioned in the first video, her arms are never going to be exactly where you want them because this is a pre-recorded animation that is designed to work with any text-to-speech audio or voiceover that you put onto it. So the only way to get the perfect animation with her arms right where you want it is if you had it custom animated, which would obviously cost you a lot more money, and you just wouldn't want to get into that. So we're going to edit our video here. We're going to end it here. Okay, let's just look again.
Vegetation videos.
Okay, wherever you feel comfortable. I'm
Videos.
going to stop right where her hands fold and end the video there. Okay, so what we're going to do is unlock this layer now, and we're going to cut both this section and the audio. Okay, then we'll get our arrow, highlight both areas. You can scroll and highlight both like I just did. Right click and then cut, and that removes both of them. All right, now we're going to take a quick look to make sure that it looks decent. Okay, scroll over to the very beginning, and now we're going to press play just to check on her, see if it's acceptable. Oh, okay, you notice what I just did. Sometimes that'll happen. You want to make sure that this scroll bar is right at the very beginning, and then press play.
Hi there. My name is Tanya and I am your 3D clone rep.
I'll fast forward it. Okay, and that's it. That's very good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to render it so that we can finalize our video, and then we're going to edit the green screen. In order to do this, we're going to go down where the icons are. You're going to highlight the spaceship or rocket ship, and once you get into this area, you're going to go up to the video export options. We're going to make sure that this is not QuickTime, unless of course you want it to be QuickTime for any given reason. We're going to be focused on MP4. So now what we're going to do is we want to make sure we name our file. We're going to call this TGS for Tanya Green Screen. And we're going to go back to video, go down to add to render queue, select your drive that you want to save it on, OK, make sure it's here in your render queue. Once you can identify that, then you're going to go down here to start render, and we're going to render our video. I'm going to fast forward it here, and then we're going to show you how to remove the green. Okay, now we're ready to remove our green screen. But I'm actually going to change this video because this here is a short crop, and that will actually cause a problem for our background layer. So I'm going to pause this video and re-render this in 1920 by 1080, and then we're going to come back to show you how to edit the green screen. Okay, we're all set. The video has been re-rendered in its proper format. So now what you want to do is you want to reload DaVinci Resolve and open a new project since we finished editing the lip sync. Okay, now we're going to open up the project. Right click in our media pool. This is a little different way of importing the media. Once you learn the app, you'll figure out which works easier for you. Okay, I'm going to select the file. We're going to left click, drag it down into the timeline, bring it over to the edge there, and now we'll just test it to make sure she looks good.
Hi there. My name is Tanya and I am your 3D clone rep.
She looks great. I've even improved the lip syncing as well, the animation. Just had to. All right, so now that we have this in place, what we're going to do is we're going to take out the green screen. This is what we've been waiting for. Okay, so you want to come down here to the color wheel, click it. Now you're going to come over here and notice I have the qualifier tool selected. You might end up being in this window or any other window. You want to make sure you have the qualifier tool selected. And we're going to come over here to HSL. You could stay here if you have other green screen videos that you want to edit. This will be very helpful in that. But because we know we have an absolute solid green background, we can actually go down to 3D here. You could probably even do it with ones that aren't so solid, but it's going to take a little playing with to get it perfect. I'll actually post a link that shows you how to do that. The guy did a real nice job on YouTube explaining that. Okay, so in the meantime, we're going to focus on what we have here. We're going to select the qualifier tool, go back up to the video, left click in there, make sure that we have that selected. It looks like nothing happened, but if you look to the right here, this node, she has disappeared and the green is there. So that's a good thing. What you want to do from here is, again, anywhere in this area, you're going to right click, go to add alpha output. Notice a little blue button just came here to the right. Left click on top of that, drag over to connect to this blue box, let it go, and notice that she just disappeared. That's also very good. Now what you want to do is you want to come back down to this area and notice you have the invert tool. Left click that, look back at the video, all the green is gone. Okay, now here's the standard problem with green screen. There's always a green tinge. Here's a real cool part about being in this 3D section. If you look over here, down in this little window, it says dispel. Check that box, look back at the video, notice she is almost absolutely clean. In fact, that green is very unnoticeable. You could probably even leave it that way. Okay, I would encourage you to leave it that way, unless, of course, for some reason you notice that the green stands out a little more. In fact, let's take a look back. Go back down to where the film tab is. Select it. And now we're going to make some room here so that we can place our background layer there. We're going to drop this audio a little bit. Again, once you play with this for a little bit, you'll get used to it. We need to lift this up on the second video layer. Now, if this video layer is not here for any given reason, you could just right click in this box and add a track. But in this case, we know we have our video layer there, so we're good. So we're going to drag her up to that layer. Okay, go all the way to the left. Let's make sure that she's all the way to the edge there, which we know she is. I'm going to shrink this down so we can see where to put our background layer or where to end it. Okay, now we drop that background layer right underneath her. Drag it over to the edge. And then we're going to shrink this down so that we can see as much of her as we can. Okay, we're going to press play.
Marketing videos to promote your products or services. I can be lip sync to any voiceover or...
And as you can see there is no green really at all. We're just noticing a black outline, which is pretty much what the alpha mask does as well. So, but the alpha mask is a lot cleaner. Okay, that's the difference. That's why I love it so much. If you notice over here, you get a little bit of a white edge. Okay, that's going to be the problem that you face with the green screen technique. But again, you know, when you put it back to its normal size, it's going to be barely noticeable. So it's still a very good option, still very usable. Again, not as quick, not as clean, and that's the only difference. Okay, but now you have both options you can work with, which is exciting. And that's the tutorial for the green screen. Pretty much it. Okay, we're going to go back to take a look over here. If you wanted to clean this up just a little bit more, okay, on the edge, it's not going to be, it'll be clean, but what'll happen is it'll get choppy. I mean, you can see already that there's there's a little bit of a jagged edge, right? So let's go down to in-out ratio, if you saw where my mouse went. Okay, we're going to pull that over to the left. You noticed how it just disappeared? Okay, that takes it out completely. That literally removes all the white or green that might be in there. Okay, so you really got to keep your eye on it and play with it. Okay, again, it's not as soft, but if you notice, it's a lot sharper, the jagged edges. Okay, so that's it. Now you can play again. We'll go back to our video here, press play.
Text-to-speech audio as you see here by the use of any video editing program.
Okay. You see how it's all choppy there?
I am here to present Eric's amazing introductory...
Yeah, we don't want that. So again, I encourage you to use the alpha mask the way that I showed you in the first video, because it'll be a lot cleaner. But again, if you want to use green screen, now you know how to do it. I look forward to seeing what you create with these 3D clone rep characters. Again, look out for the MiClone characters coming out very soon. I would say probably August, September. But we'll keep you informed on that as time goes on. In the meantime, enjoy, and we look forward to seeing what you create.